Whoa.
Sorry. There were 7 games decided this week by 14 or more points. Blowouts. Absolute blowouts. It's like we were watching college football this week.
Yeah.
But actually, the college football games that we picked here to just kind of review were actually, most of them were closer than the NFL games. We had, a college game decided by 8. Okay, Texas completely clapped Oklahoma, but like Ole Miss, LSU, Oregon, Ohio State, Kansas State, Colorado, all those are closer than most of the NFL games, which is crazy.
Spanking.
Intro music.
Oh, let's see.
Cletus just woke up from a nap.
I did. Like about
voice,
5 minutes ago.
That voice should be well rested.
Yeah.
Let's
see. Lots of blowouts.
Yeah.
Blow.
So like,
blow.
So like
Juggernaut.
Well, that should be
this
for
place
next
about to blow.
Oh.
It's the first one that came to my mind. Old school Kesha.
I don't know if we can do Kesha. That would sound real bad.
She loves drugs.
You're right.
Unless we did like an instrumental version. She does love drugs. Blow. Blow makes me think of The Dirt, the movie about.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a great movie actually.
Yeah, they're always doing
about Motley Crue.
Yes, Motley Crue. That's
I never watched that.
I've watched that movie like 3 times.
They snorted a lot of drugs.
And piss and ants.
Ants.
Yep.
Whoa.
Those guys know blow.
They do know blow.
What's a famous Motley Crue? I'm dumb.
There's a lot of them. There's Shout at the Devil. There's Kickstart My Heart.
That's the biggest one.
Is that the biggest? Okay.
It's just one of them, yeah.
Man, they got bangers on bangers on bangers.
They do. Live Wire. Girls.
I know that.
Sweet Home.
Yep, that's a real good one.
Looks that kill. Smoking in the boys' room.
Smoking in the boys' room.
Dr. Feelgood.
Oh, they're all bangers.
All bangers.
Too bad Nikki Sixx loved heroin. He loved it. That shit was so good.
Good movie though.
Don't go
Good
away,
movie.
mad.
The Dirt.
Girl, just go away. That's
Come on, pick one.
Yeah, I don't. You guys are on your own on this one. Somebody lay down a beat, and the other guy take the vocals.
The Motley Crue.
Well, I've at least heard of a. No, wait. Kickstart My Heart.
Whoa. Yeah, kickstart my heart and it never stops. Whoa, yeah, baby.
Good enough.
Yeah,
That's very good. I wasn't getting into that whole screaming.
Yeah, they got real.
They got the pipes.
We're big on hair bands, I guess.
We are huge on it.
We're a hair band podcast.
How can you not?
Yeah. Who was it last week?
Europe.
That's right. That's right. And we were talking about they had like the bangs and the long.
I believe they are from Europe, by the way.
Yeah, Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I am. No. That's not Europe.
Not
though.
Europe,
That's
no.
Asia.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Last Stop Sports Talk. This is episode 45, our NFL Week 6 review. So this week we're going to be going over Week 6, and we're going to be doing our Chris Collinsworth Glaze segment. So I got Keaton Kropp, Cletus Smith, I'm Cody Kropp. Let's get right into Week 6 with some college review.
Yeah, we're going to start with Utah at Arizona State.
Yep.
Utah was ranked 16th, and Arizona State stayed home, and they clapped them by 8 points. It was 27-19. So what I took away from this game, Utah I didn't like going in. Arizona State was one of my picks this week, which I had a pretty solid week there, fellas. We'll get there.
You did.
Absolutely. But I always thought that Utah was one-dimensional, and they kind of showed it again in this game. Like, this was Cam Rising's first game back, I do believe, from his injury, and man, he looked like ass. It was terrible. He went 16 for 37 passing, 209 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks. He looked bad. He looked like an old man throwing the ball out there. He looked like borderline painful. He looked tight. Looked like he needed a Deshaun Watson massage.
Whoa,
I guess we can't be calling for that, but
No, you can.
okay. But he looked bad. That's kind of what led to this loss. I feel like. So I guess we'll start with Arizona State. Arizona State did play a good game. Obviously, they won. They won by 8 against a ranked opponent. But it feels like the AP poll, who puts out all these rankings, they were correct to not have them ranked this week. They are a 5-1 team now. Yeah. But, they got a redshirt freshman starting quarterback, Sam Levitt. He played all right. This team was really carried by their running back, white meatball-shaped dude named Cam Scattaboo. He had, total yards that he had. 158 plus 41. That's 199 yards he had himself. So he went 22 carries for 158 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Through the air, he had 4 catches for another 41 receiving yards. So, that's 199 yards total. So he kind of did this all himself, and with how much Cam Rising was struggling to only beat Utah by 8 points, it wasn't a great look. Obviously, still won the game, but the good thing about Utah, the one good takeaway I have for them is that their running back, it's spelled like Micah Bernard, like Micah, but everybody says it Mekhi, so I guess I'll call him Mekhi Bernard.
That's weird.
Mekhi Bernard is a legit running back on this Utah team, and he's been trying to just carry this team basically all season because Cam Rising went down early, and then they had a young quarterback blank on his name right now.
Me too.
But
yeah.
Anyways, Mekhi Bernard, he is a legit running back, but he's not probably not going to be drafted because his age. He's already a 60-year senior, and old running backs just don't get drafted. But good season by Mekhi Bernard so far, and good game by Arizona State. But both these teams are out of playoff contention for sure. So I'm going to move into the next game. Texas absolutely mollywopped Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, It was the Red River rivalry. It was just one-sided the whole time. Texas staying ranked number 1 now. Oklahoma, I think, dropped out of the rankings completely. This was Quinn Ewers' first game back, and he didn't even look good. And they still smacked Oklahoma, so that's just more against Oklahoma than it is a positive for Texas. I don't take a whole lot from this game, honestly, because Quinn Ewers, as I said, did not look good. And Oklahoma, my takeaway for them is that they cannot figure out the quarterback this year. They've tried Jackson Arnold. This game they had, what was that dude's name? Let me pull up the box score real quick. I was going off of memory until now. I have notes here, but I couldn't get the guy's name.
I don't remember the dude's name.
Oh, my gosh.
They stuck a flag in Baker Mayfield's jersey.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. They put Baker Mayfield's jersey down at the center of the field and stabbed a flag through it because Baker, back in the day, whenever he had won the Red River rivalry in Texas, he planted an Oklahoma flag right in the middle of their field.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's quarterback's name now is Michael Hawkins Jr. He was the guy who filled in for this game. He went 19 for 30 for 148 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. Actually, the quarterback had the most carries on their team, Hawkins Jr. He had 20 carries for 27 yards. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And their running back went 14 for 38, Javante Barnes. So they just couldn't get anything going at all. So Texas is looking dominant, especially on the defensive side of the ball in this game. They just completely shut down this Oklahoma team, and Oklahoma is not going to be in the playoff, but Texas still ranked number 1.
They're still very good.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, LSU. LSU squeaked out the win, 29-26 at home. Oh, I don't know what I just did.
Oh, a little bing.
Oh, dang. Anyways, so Ole Miss. They started out super hot. LSU did not have an answer. Jackson Dart came out slinging it as he usually does. And LSU just couldn't keep up. They couldn't score touchdowns. They kept settling for field goals. So their kicker really kept them in the game by making all the field goals he attempted. And getting towards the end, it kind of just went like that. Somewhat of a boring game the rest of the way through the game, but towards the end of the second half is when LSU started heating up and more or less kind of catching up is what it felt like. Their defense started heating up and their O-line stepped up. Their O-line was keeping Nussmeier clean for LSU and letting him throw, and their defense, specifically guys like Major Burns, he made some huge plays.
Oh, what a name.
Yeah, it's an awesome name. Major Burns, Whit Weeks for that LSU team was all over the field. He had like 18 total tackles or something like that. He was all over all night long, getting pressure. And towards the end of the second half, the defense started stepping up. O-line kind of bared down and let Nussmeier throw it. And they caught up enough to send the game to overtime. And then, so Ole Miss gets the ball. Ole Miss walks down the field. LSU bows up and holds them to a field goal. And then LSU walked right back down the field and got a long touchdown to, was it Parrish?
I'll get you.
Nope, not Parrish. It was Harris, I think. Either way, towards the end of the game, or to finish the game, they walked back down. Nussmeier threw a long, exciting touchdown to beat Ole Miss. And my takeaway is Jackson Dart and Ole Miss, I'm not too worried about them. They're still a good-looking team. I don't think Dart really lost them the game at all. Just had some unfortunate mistakes, like a pick towards the end of the game, I think, that turned them, a pick and just some unfortunate mistakes on all facets of the game for Ole Miss. And I think that Nussmeier looked good for LSU, and their weapons looked pretty good and solid. And their defense stepped up at the end when they needed it to win them that game. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was definitely a good game. You could definitely see that LSU was benefited by being home in this game. With it being a tight one, the fans are going to be screaming as they were down in the Bayou.
The Bayou.
So we'll move on to the next game. I don't know, my game of the year. I'm an Oregon fan, but
was it a good game?
The Ducks did it, baby.
Quack, quack.
They did it. Number 3, Oregon at home beat number 2 Ohio State. It was 32-31. We'll start out with Oregon because I have a takeaway for Ohio State that should probably be left for the end. But let me just say that Oregon's. So as I said, I was going to be intoxicated for this game, as I was.
Yep.
I didn't remember much of it, so I recorded it and I watched it afterwards. Watched through the full game.
Good game.
Great game. Let me just say that for Oregon's offensive explosiveness is real.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not because of Dylan Gabriel. That should be pretty darn clear. Dylan Gabriel, in my eyes, this isn't just because he's left-handed. This is like seriously how he looks. He looks like he plays like Tua. He's just a facilitator. He's not going to add anything extra special. He just gets the ball out. He went 23 for 34, 341 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, no picks. He even added a touchdown on the ground. He had 4 carries for 32 yards and 1 touchdown. Actually, I don't think he was sacked one time.
I don't think so. I think he was kept clean.
Yeah, it was a clean game. Yeah, no sacks. But Evan Stewart looked great. Like Tez Johnson, Carson always gluck he yucks Tez Johnson because he said he's already going to be a my guy for him and everything. But Evan Stewart looked great in this game. Evan Stewart is kind of playing that Troy Franklin role from last year, more of like the deep threat. And just like gets further down the field, intermediate stuff. And Evan Stewart looks great in that. This team has so much speed on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Tez Johnson and Evan Stewart are probably 2 of the fastest receivers in the nation right now. Even on the ground, Jordan James looked great. He's no Bucky Irving in my opinion, but he looked great. He's got definitely more speed than Bucky Irving. He's got better size than Bucky Irving, and he was able to finish some good runs in this game to keep the offense moving. On the other side of the ball, Ohio State didn't even play a bad game.
They beat themselves.
They really did beat themselves. Like Will Howard went 28 for 35, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Travion Henderson was good on the ground. Judkins kind of stumbled a little bit. Jeremiah Smith, their freshman wide receiver, looked good. He went 9 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. And Mika,
really good.
Yeah, Ibuka also did really well for them too. But I guess we'll talk about at the end of the game because it was pretty important and it was very exciting if you're an Oregon fan like me. But came down to the end of the game. So I guess we'll start with Oregon scored a touchdown. It was a Dylan Gabriel run for 27 yards for a touchdown. That was like at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And then basically a whole lot of nothing happened because Ohio State had a long drive, 13 plays, 53-yard drive that ended in a field goal. It took 7:20 off the clock and got the clock down to 6 minutes to go. So they got a 40-yard field goal there. slowly grinding down the clock because they could see it was going to be a close game. So then Oregon got the ball.
Yep.
They had an 11-play, 74-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 13 seconds that eventually ended in a field goal by a dude named Atticus Sappington. Awesome name for a kicker.
Yeah.
Oregon had kicking problems the whole game. They couldn't find – they have like two kickers that they like to use, and they were trying both of them out from like different distances and stuff
the Green Bay approach.
Yeah, basically. But he made that field goal. That pushed it to 32 Oregon, 31 Ohio State. And then the final drive for Ohio State, which is what is very important because they had a whole minute 47 to go in the game.
Yeah,
so they had
I was worried watching that game. Like,
they
got a lot of time here.
It was and they moved the ball down the field pretty fast. They eventually got down and a pass to Emeka Ibuka. He took it for 26 yards. That got the ball down to the Oregon 28. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, this is where they're gonna. Well, I was watching it back. I knew the result of the game, but
you're right.
Yeah. The first time you're like,
yeah, that's exactly what I was like. Yeah, but if you were watching it live, you were probably like, oh shit, they're like already in field goal range.
That's
they're at Oregon's 28, and they had 22 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and then they're just like they're trying to get more time off the clock. They ran no huddle right there, and here's what happened that really threw the whole game away for Ohio State. That once this happened, they couldn't really get going again. It was Will Howard dropped back from the shotgun. There was no huddle. The play started at 22 seconds to go.
Yep.
Passed it complete pass short to the middle to Jeremiah Smith, and it was complete, and I got it to the 21 of Oregon. But then there was a flag on the play, and they watched we all watched the replay, and there was offensive pass interference on Jeremiah Smith. He basically it wasn't even like it wasn't even he didn't even try to hide it. Like what kind of sucks for Jeremiah Smith? He's a 6'3", 215-pound receiver. He's very
big.
strong,
Yeah.
very strong for like a 17, 18-year-old. But he just like where he pushed off from the DB like at his shoulder pad level. So he like clearly shoved him back. Like everybody could see it.
Yeah, extended his arms out.
Yeah, extended his arms out. It was like clearly an OPI, no matter who you're rooting for. But that pushed him back 15 yards.
Yep.
Back to the Oregon 43. Then the plays were as follows. So starting at 10 seconds to go, Will Howard pass incomplete. That brought it down to 6 seconds. So then Oregon called a timeout at 10 seconds to go. Yeah, and then it was Will Howard passed it incomplete left to Jeremiah Smith, and then a flag was on the play. And turns out there were 12 guys on the field.
Yep.
And then they showed a replay of Dan Lanning, Oregon's head coach, throwing a 12th guy out onto the field. Like there's obviously like Dan Lanning came out later and he said like, yeah, I did it on purpose. Like that's true.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Dan.
We don't know. But like honestly, if he did, that is an absolutely genius play because Cletus brought it up to me on Sunday because it doesn't throw 36 dudes out there on defense because you're just wasting time.
Yeah, it took time off the clock.
It took time off the clock,
they
and
can't
they were
it back.
Yep.
Yeah, and like it's only a
smart.
5-yard penalty. They were at the 43-yard line. Getting them up to the 38 still wasn't enough
That was
for
gonna be like a 50+ yard field.
Yeah, for a college kicker, that's like
tough.
That's a tough kick. And it was like windy there too.
And away on the road.
Yeah, and away on the road. So Dan Lanning, it was a genius play, whether it was on purpose or not, because the more guys you have on your defense on the field, obviously the harder it is to complete a pass that would make them decline the penalty and get further up the field. So like throw 20 guys out there on the field on defense.
Send your whole team.
And because then they were still running a play.
Yeah.
And then for some reason that didn't like stop the clock. So then Will Howard, there were 6 seconds left. They had to hurry up, snap the ball. Will Howard ran the ball for 12 yards and slid down.
Play,
like as soon as his butt hit the ground, clock hit 0. They didn't have any time. They had one timeout. They didn't have any time to call it. That was the end of the game.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable game.
It was a crazy game. Really fun to watch for an Oregon fan like me. But my takeaway for Ohio State is they should have won the game.
They definitely should have won the game.
It was a game that basically comes down to whoever has the ball last, they're going to win because neither team could play defense. Ohio State came into this game looking like they had one of the best defenses in the nation. Oregon's defense I knew wasn't good. They rely on their offense so hard, but Oregon picked them apart. Dillon Gabriel looked great in this game, did what he had to, and Oregon won the game, and that's all I care about because now they're ranked number 2. And Penn State is ridiculously ranked number 3.
Hell yeah.
Here we go.
But great game.
That was a great game. Getting into another pretty great game. Not as great as that one because those are some of the heavy hitters, obviously, in college football. But Kansas State beat Colorado 31-28, and probably a more entertaining game than a lot of people might have thought. Kansas State came out, and they were pressuring Sanders all night long. They didn't get to him very much because a lot of people hate on them. I get it. We all do. We all know why. All that. All the drama and media and everything surrounding them. But, in all reality, Shedeur played a pretty good game this game. He made the throws, and he got out of the pocket. He was moving well. And, he's who almost won this team the game. He's almost who won Colorado the game this time, and it's not even a question. Their running game was non-existent.
Yeah, nothing.
Literally non-existent. Nothing. And Shedeur was making legitimately good plays and also taking advantage of Kansas State's very injured secondary. I don't know how many people they had out, how many backup DBs they had in there, but I think there were multiple because they were very hurt. And it kind of showed. I mean, Colorado's receivers were open all the time. So it was a combo of them being open and Shedeur just getting out of the pocket and making good plays because Kansas State was pressuring all game long. And they got to him a few times. But Shedeur played a very clean game, very good game overall to keep them in there. But Avery Johnson's on the other side, and he didn't have as flashy of a game stat-wise, but because he was getting pressured too somewhat frequently, but he kept him in the game, made the throws. But Avery Johnson isn't even the story of this game. It's freaking DJ Giddens, dude.
Yeah.
He's running over everybody in this game. He looked like prime, like Barry Sanders college level running game this game, and he was dominant. But that was also kind of how the running game was going that night. DJ Giddens was obviously unbelievable. Couldn't be stopped by one or two tacklers. But that starts with their offensive line. Kansas State's offensive line this game bullied Colorado's defensive line and opened up 3, 4, 5 yard gaps in the O-line in Colorado's defensive line frequently, which gave Giddens a great run up. And once Giddens got through there, he was breaking tackles all the way down the field. Giddens ended up with 25 carries for 182 yards. Just unbelievable game by him. Their passing game, Jace Brown was the standout this game. He had 6 catches for $121. And yeah, so Kansas State was really trying to lose, but they made the plays when it mattered. And yeah, they won by 3.
DJ Giddens on the year so far. Through 6 games, he's got 786 rushing yards through 6 games, and he's averaging 7.3 yards per carry.
Yeah, he's
crazy
unbelievable
stuff.
But where does that rank him?
Like what? For rushing
backs.
Yards? Oh, well, whenever you're going up against Genty, yeah, that's kind of unfair.
Yeah, but Giddens did look super good. But I guess a couple other notable things to throw in here. Travis Hunter did go out. I should have looked up the status of him. I didn't. But he went out this game. But really, the rest of Colorado's passing weapons didn't look too bad. Their defense wasn't great. But then again, they're going against Avery Johnson on the other side. But yeah, so I guess the only concerns are K-State secondary because I really don't know. They seem very hurt. And if they're getting sliced and diced by Colorado, they're in for it for some of the heavier hitters down the road. But yeah, the rest of K-State looks super solid. And yeah, DJ Giddens just running crazy right now.
DJ Giddens on the year. His rushing yards puts him at 4th in the nation.
Oh, wow.
Division I. Obviously, Genty's first. He's got 1,200. He's got almost double what Giddens has.
That's unbelievable.
Also, Cam Skattebo, Arizona State's running back, is 5th in rushing yards. And Mekhi Bernard of Utah is 10th in rushing yards so far.
Jeez.
Genty also has a game and a half where he just didn't play because they didn't need him in the second half.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, his yards after contact now, it puts him at 3rd. His yards after contact on the year is 914, and second place rusher is 932. That's Caleb Johnson of Iowa, and then 3rd place is Amari and Hampton of North Carolina at 901. So Ashton Genty,
hilarious.
Yards after contact alone would put him at 3rd.
Unbelievable.
Insane. Yeah.
Well, it's second. Didn't you just say it was Caleb Johnson ahead?
Well, yeah, Caleb Johnson would be ahead of him. I mean, like, if Ashton Genty regular rushing yards would still be first, he would have first and third.
Yeah, unbelievable. So, yeah, there's some great college slate games this week. And there's even more that we didn't touch on. Yeah. But college had a really good week. But let's get into the NFL and some of these freaking blowouts that happened. So let's start with the London game. Oh, no, not the London
Thursday
game.
Night football. Thursday night football on Prime.
Prime.
Where the 49ers took on the Seahawks in what was a shitty game. 36-24. The score doesn't reflect how shitty it was.
Yeah.
Seahawks scored a late time, garbage time touchdown. So it really should have been like 36-17. But 49ers were in command of this game the entire time. Brock Purdy was slanging that thing. He was doing everything perfect. There were it was either their first or second drive. He just threw it to Debo, and he got like a 60-yard touchdown right out of the gate. And
that's Brock Purdy football, baby.
Pretty much.
Making the right passes.
Yeah, early in the game, Geno could not hit the broadside of a barn, and DK Metcalf could not catch anything. He couldn't catch the Spanish flu. The beginning of this game really showed how much better the 49ers really are than the Seahawks. 49ers were steady the entire way. Like first quarter 3 points, second 13. Third quarter 7, fourth 13. They were just consistent the entire time. Whereas the Seahawks, they were playing catch up the ball the entire time. Geno yet again attempt 52 passes.
Yeah,
that's why he has the most attempts in the league. Is because they're always playing yards. They're always playing from behind. Yeah, and most passing yards. He has 312 this game alone. Two touchdowns, and he threw 2 ugly picks. He just really was not looking that good this game. But their defense as well. Absolutely terrible. The only person who really had a good game for the Seahawks was the goddamn Tyler Lockett.
Lockett.
Yeah, Lockett had a touchdown and 65 yards. Whoop-de-doo. That was pretty much all that happened. Even K9 only had 14 carries for 32 yards.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Ooh, that's gross.
Zach Charbonnet had a better game than him. I mean, K9 got into the end zone, but for what cause?
Yeah.
On the 49ers side of the ball, Brock Purdy, he killed it. He had 255 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, mostly because he was thrown to a Swiss cheese defense that couldn't pick off anything.
Yep.
Debo, 3 receptions for 102 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to catch
Debo.
the ball.
Yeah.
You don't have to catch the ball a bunch of times if you go for 100 yards anyways. George Kittle also was having a big game, 5 receptions, 58 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He's back, baby.
They just couldn't stop him in the red zone pretty much. And Brandon Ayuk doesn't do anything ever.
Yep.
Juwan Jennings, actually pretty bad game from him too. 3 for 27, but it doesn't really matter because they're playing ahead the entire time.
Yep.
So the rushing game, Isaac
Guerendo.
Yep. He had to come in for Jordan Mason because he got injured early in the first half and
shoulder injury.
Yeah. He should be back this week, right? It was just like a one-game setback.
Check that.
I think he's questionable.
Yeah, I think he almost came back in or thought about coming back in.
Yeah, he's not that injured. But Guerendo did a pretty good job with 10 carries and 99 yards.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
He's a second year?
No, first year.
I was going to say
first
year.
He was the guy,
Louisville, that's it. Yep.
But yeah.
They played a solid game.
Yeah, this game, it was a blowout from the beginning pretty much. Just
felt that way.
Yeah. The 49ers were just putting belt to ass on the Seahawks. Score doesn't reflect it, but it should.
Yeah, Jordan Mason was limited in practice Wednesday, so he's on track to suit up.
Yeah,
that's good. All right, we'll talk about the first blowout by at least 14 points of this week because 49ers only won by 12, close game.
Only 12. Yeah.
But the Bears absolutely clopped the Jaguars.
Clopped?
Yeah, I'm just coming up with stuff now.
Yeah, there we go. We need to start making words.
Bears 35, Jaguars 16. We'll start with the Bears because I'll put some respect on Caleb Williams. I'll put some respect on Caleb Williams' name this time. He played a good game.
He did, and
it's not like he wasn't pressured. This defensive line is pretty darn good. They got Eric Armstead. They got Josh Hines-Allen. I know that's 2 guys is more than some teams have. So, but they pressured him 12 times. They even sacked him 3 times. But But he still went out there and he put up a solid game of 23 of 29 passing, 226 yards, 4 touchdowns, one pretty bad pick. But after that pick, he picked it up. What impressed me, though, with Caleb Williams in this game, he was making some NFL-level throws and doing really well using his legs. He went 4 for 54 on the ground. 4 for 56, my bad, on the ground. He was, whenever he came out into the draft, what I noticed about him is, he kind of he plays like that Patrick Mahomes, I'm gonna go do whatever I want style. But he's just quicker than Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have the dad bod yet.
Yeah.
He's more athletic. But all in all, Caleb Williams had a good game, very good game.
Yep,
they crushed the Jaguars team, but obviously, I want to see him do this against a good defense because the Jaguars defense is not good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So keep it up, Caleb. But I need to see it again against the Jaguars team that is not currently imploding.
They're bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, for the Jaguars, I'll just talk about, I guess, a positive. Trevor Lawrence. I guess it's not even a positive. It's kind of a meh thing, just kind of something that I saw. If the 2024 Jets team were personified by one player, the Jets, we know how the Jets are. They're clunky. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. It'd be Trevor Lawrence. I know he's not on the Jets, so maybe that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But the Jets, who they are as a team, I feel like Trevor Lawrence would be the perfect quarterback for them.
He's a part-timer.
Yeah, he has moments of brilliance, and then he has moments of stupidity. There are throws that he should never even miss. Zach Wilson level, this is an easy throw. You should hit it. Zach Wilson would wail it over the running back's head, and Trevor Lawrence would do the same thing sometimes. And also, so there are some times where he just has great throws. It's just everything is so inconsistent there right now. Doug Peterson might be fired before he ever leaves London because they're staying in London right now. That might honestly be the reason why he didn't get fired this week, because they still have a whole nother week with him. They're staying with him in London. Maybe he just doesn't want to pay for another flight home.
Probably.
The owner just doesn't want to pay to fly him home. So Doug Peterson might not be the Jaguars coach anymore after this next week. But they do play the Patriots, so if they get beat by Drake May and the Patriots, I don't know. Yeah, but
Drake May might put the nail in that coffin.
Jaguars are competing with the Browns for who has the worst vibes in the NFL, and it's a shit race.
It is.
They're sliding down a mountain, falling off a cliff, sliding on their own shit is what's happening.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unfortunately, ETN is also injured.
Yeah, ETN. Yeah, he's considered week to week with a hamstring injury.
So that doesn't help.
He probably lost his job in that game anyways. So
yeah, they were running Dearness Johnson and Tank Bigsby basically evenly. Tank Bigsby, has looked pretty great most of the season. And Dearness Johnson didn't even look horrible in this game. So it's going to be a full-blown committee, I feel like, even whenever ETN does come back. But
rest in peace to my Travis Etienne fantasy owners. Drafting him in the second round.
Yeah. Ooh. Ew.
Yeah, it's wonderful for us. I did it in 2 leagues. On to the Commanders-Ravens. The Ravens beat the Commanders 30-23.
This is a pretty good game.
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. Kind of boring to watch. There's more points scored than really what it felt like. I don't know. There's just something about it. But Jaden Daniels, he had himself a pretty good game. Mm-hmm. He had 269 for 2 touchdowns and no picks, so he pretty much did everything he could, at least with the offense he has.
Yeah, I did my part.
Yeah, he did his part.
This was one of his probably bigger tests against one of the better defenses out there in the league, so it was cool to see, cool to watch. He had a pretty good game, like you said.
Yeah. And then, on the ground, they couldn't really get anything going. Jaden Daniels was their best rusher. So that's telling you that
22 yards.
Yeah, 22 yards.
Yeah,
Austin Eckler only had 21.
Oof.
They couldn't do anything on the ground. So to do that well in the passing game while not being able to rush at all is pretty impressive. But the defense was killing them the entire game. They had to punt way too much and kick a lot of field goals. But I don't know. The Commanders, they're still a young team.
Mm-hmm.
And this Baltimore team is really experienced, so I think they put up a pretty damn good fight against them.
Yeah. The Commanders are continuing to look better than what we all thought they would be,
yes.
I think. And that's, you're playing one of the best teams in the league here, in the Ravens.
Yeah.
And you got Derrick Henry on the other side.
But, and then on the other side, like he just said, Derrick Henry, 132 rushes for 2 touchdowns. Dude's an animal. And then Lamar Jackson on top of that, 323 passing yards for a touchdown and a pick. But, yeah, offensively, they were just doing whatever they wanted, as expected, really, because the Commanders' defense is dog shit. One of the worst in the league, and that's just to be expected. Zay Flowers had a big game, 132 yards receiving off of 9 catches.
Yep.
Rashad Bateman had a pretty big game, 71 yards, 4 catches. But, yeah, pretty much it was Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson just doing whatever they wanted to that defense because it was like playing against children.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what it felt like for sure.
After they
against boys.
After they had a pretty good past couple weeks the Commanders defense had, and then it just kind of Lamar Jackson sauced them up.
And Derrick Henry just ran him over.
And to hurt the Commanders defense even more, their defensive tackle Jonathan Allen suffered a pec injury that might
pretty big
end his season.
Yeah,
he's their best defensive tackle. I mean, they're okay there. They have Deron Payne there, who's another first-round pick from years ago, and then maybe Jerzon Newton gets in there, gets some more snaps.
Johnny Newton.
Let's see it.
Yeah, Johnny Newton. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be a big game or a big deal for them.
Yeah.
Buccaneers ended up clapping the Saints 51-27. This was a pretty exciting game too because most of the game the score doesn't show it at the end here, but most of the game was pretty close. Buccaneers came out super hot, got up 17-0. Chris Godwin making plays, Baker hucking the ball over the field. But then pretty quickly the Saints decided, I guess we're playing football, scored 27 points in the second quarter to come storming back. And that they ended up taking the lead, like I just said, scoring 27 points, ended up being 27-24 at halftime. And that was all kind of led with a punt return touchdown by Rashid Shaheed to get them going. And then Baker had some ugly picks. Well, Baker had 3 picks. One was his fault. One was tipped and one was right through a receiver's hands and it popped up in the air. So I only put one of those on Bake. But that kind of helped the Saints wake up and Spencer Rattler lead them down to end up leading, and they scored those 27 points in the second quarter, and then they kept it close in the third, and then the fourth quarter came along, and Baker's like, we're still playing football. Let's open the bakery. Let's free Bucky Irving from the backfield and just let him run over everybody. And that's what they did.
Sean Tucker.
Yeah, and Sean Tucker. What a game by Sean Tucker. Bucky Irving.
Taking snaps from Bucky.
Yeah.
These damn committees.
I'm worried about that.
He still looked good. Bucky Irving had
Bucky
a good game.
Did look good, yeah.
Yeah, Bucky had a good game, 14 for 81. Sean Tucker outshined him with an even better game, 14 for 136. They both had a touchdown. Baker ended up throwing for 325 yards and 4 touchdowns. We'll just forget about those 3 interceptions. I just explained them. But, yeah, so Buccaneers got an interception in the fourth quarter, and that just kind of sparked them and led them to beat the Saints by quite a bit. But my takeaways from this game, really, Rattler didn't look bad. Like, he didn't play a terrible game. He ended up with 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, but he's a rookie. And
first game against the Todd Bowles blitz-happy defense.
So he really didn't look bad.
Patrick Mahomes will put up that same stat line.
Probably will, yeah. He'll get praised for it.
And they'll say he's the MVP.
Yeah. The rest of the Saints really didn't look bad either overall. But
except for Chris Olave.
And now Rashid Shaheed's hurt. Mm-hmm. I don't know when he's coming back.
Shaheed
he's going to get meniscus surgery.
Yeah, he out indefinitely. And Olave took a hard hit in the first quarter. On his first catch and hit right to the helmet, fumbled the ball then too. Olave's got a concussion, probably going to be out Thursday night.
The Kamara show.
Yeah, and when your top receivers are Foster Moreau and Juwan Johnson.
Bub Means.
Yeah.
Rookie from Pitt.
Yeah. It's kind of, that kind of explains how it is. So Rattler's kind of in a tough spot. But like I said, the rest of the Saints didn't look bad, even losing those guys. But where the Saints did look bad to me, tackling and run stopping on defense. Obviously, we just talked about Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker slicing and dicing all game long and not being able to tackle anybody. Including Chris Godwin, and he ended up with 11 for 125, and he was by far and away their leading receiver this game, 2 touchdowns too. So that's where the Saints are struggling. But I think they'll continue to get better. It'll be tough without those guys, but really somewhat of a solid start, in my opinion, for a fifth, sixth, seventh round QB, whatever
Fifth.
he was. So I was gonna say I thought he was fifth, but and on the Bucs side, Baker's a dog.
Rashad White's RB3.
Yeah, that's what That's what I was just gonna say. Rashad White. This is not an overreaction. This is not an exaggeration. Rashad White should not get another carry the rest of the year.
No,
I'm sorry. If you go out
should.
and you put up 277 yards on the ground with Sean Tucker and Bucky Irving, Rashad White shouldn't be running the ball anymore. Every time you give him the ball, he's actively hurting your team.
Yep.
They're like
plain and simple.
They were setting records with that performance in the run game. I forget what the stat was. It was something about being over 200 yards or something like that. Yeah, they played incredible. Tucker and Bucky were incredible. They were a great 1-2 punch, like Ian just said, and the Bucs O-line obviously blocking for them too. But like I was saying about Baker is an absolute dog, and his heart and determination to bring them back into the game.
Short-term memory, man.
Yeah, like
three picks.
Fourth quarter, he was. Did you see that run he had in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
And he's running downfield to block for guys.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not love this guy?
Oh, his heart is so
He's awesome. Baker's a dog, and they're just. I think they're going to continue to get even better. They aren't looking like they're going to be getting any worse. They're just a well-rounded team overall. Defense is good enough, and their offense is still. They didn't even have to use Mike Evans this game, and they're just a great, well-rounded team. And
put up a 50 burger on a Saints defense that had been probably middle of the pack,
right?
At least. Bucky Irving broke 6 tackles on 14 carries. He had 68 yards after contact.
Dog.
Yeah,
Dog.
And he only had 81 rushing yards.
Dog.
13 yards before contact. But Buccaneers looked dominant in this game. It was a
Super Bowl
mollywhopping.
contenders. It was a mollywhopping.
Yeah.
Well, going from a mollywhopping to a dog shit win by the Eagles against the Browns.
Yeah.
The Eagles won 20-16 against what's possibly the worst team in the league and just getting worse.
Yeah.
Very possibly.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts. I know he had 264 for 2, but he does not look good. He's missing passes and he just has not looked good at all this year in my opinion. I haven't seen what we used to see from him.
No, definitely not.
Something's up with him. And Nick Sirianni, he...
Yelling at the Browns fans whenever they barely beat them by 4. Bad Browns team.
I love it.
I
so
honestly,
funny.
everyone says that they want him fired, but I just don't because
I don't
he's
either.
such a meme.
Yeah.
It's good TV.
It is good TV.
As long as the Eagles keep winning, he's not gonna get fired.
He won't.
No.
But
He's so fiery.
I hope they just go undefeated for the rest of the year because I love seeing Nick Sirianni just go off for no reason.
Talk mad shit
Yeah.
for no reason.
He
I
has
love
such
it.
thin skin. I love it. But honestly, the Browns defense was really good this game. Saquon only had 18 carries for only 47 yards.
He had a bad game.
Yeah, they give him the ball more, and then he sucks.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. The Browns defense decided to wake up.
Yeah,
and
they did.
16 points, that's probably pretty close to the highest score the Browns have ever had this year. So
Probably,
their
I think
defense is almost there within the threshold of winning another game.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they can do much more than that because this Eagles team is unstable. I don't know what's wrong with it. They had everyone back. They had A.J. Brown back. They had Davante Smith back. I mean, in the game, Mylotta went out, Goddard went out, and their corner Darius Slay went out. So
yeah, that's a problem.
They got their people back, and then they lost some other big chunks. So I don't know. This Eagles team is questionable throughout this. It's going to be questionable throughout the entire year. The Browns team, just dog shit. Deshaun Watson, not a pick, not a touchdown, 160 yards. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's like
Pretty
he wasn't
garbage.
even there.
Yep.
You could have put a pylon in for him.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah. Rushing, much of the same. Prayer Strong, meh. Dante Foreman, meh. Jerome Ford, injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's their offense is just so bad. Amari Cooper said, "I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to Buffalo."
Oh man, yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be electric.
And now their offense is even worse. So
Yeah.
but with Jerome Ford coming out, Nick Chubb is pretty much being forced into to having to play, and so here's to another broken leg. He's making his debut week 7 against the Bengals, which is known for a terrible defense all around.
Yeah.
So maybe this could be Nick Chubb's comeback game, or he just becomes Jerome Ford and takes another set on the bench for a couple more weeks. We'll see, but
they might just not put him in there because they are obviously already tanking.
Yeah,
in front of our face.
Just go for a first-round pick at this point, or the first overall pick at this point.
Yeah, first overall.
Because screw it, just trade Nick Chubb.
Might as well.
I saw rumors about trading Myles Garrett.
There we go.
Yeah, they're just like, let's restart, which I think is the right play because
the issue is they don't have any money. So
yeah. Because of Deshaun Watson. I saw someone propose, like, this didn't happen, but someone recommended that they trade Deshaun Watson to a team that, like, desperately needs a quarterback, like the Raiders or something. They give up him and a first-round pick just to take him, and with his signing.
Browns may do that. At least Browns fans.
I wouldn't be mad if I was a Browns fan, I'd be like,
okay.
Deal.
Yeah.
Like,
fine, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just get him.
Can we get Joe Flacco back?
Yeah, they probably would try to trade for him if they did that. But yeah, this game was terrible on both sides. But the Eagles
pulled it out.
They pulled it out, but that's no surprise.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also doesn't help the Eagles offense, like you were just talking about, that Goddard
got hurt.
Also.
Goddard
got hurt.
Wow.
Got hurt.
Yep. Colts beat the Titans 20-17 in another fairly boring back and forth defensive game with a couple explosives thrown in there. But this was kind of a prime example of Joe Cool Flacco just kind of being an old guard and being clutch when he needs to be and walking his team down the field at the end of the game to get a winning touchdown. It ended up being a game-winning touchdown. And that's kind of where that ends. Like, there were some big plays by Pittman, and Pollard had some explosive runs, but other than that, Titans looked boring. They got some work to do, and Levis may need to go back to the bench and to do that work. And I don't know, they just looked rough overall. And Colts also looked fairly boring, but they got Joe Cool Flacco, and that pretty much won them the game because Jonathan Taylor was out, so they really didn't have much of a run game, really at all. And another negative for the Colts is Ryan Kelly went out this game.
Yeah.
I don't really know his
starting center.
Yeah, I don't really know his status, but I don't think it looks good.
Yeah. More injuries for the Colts.
Yeah, so more injuries for that already injured Colts team. It's looking pretty bad. I think. Yeah, it's just.
Ryan Kelly, he missed practice Wednesday.
Okay, so it's not looking great so far. But kind of between Joe Flacco getting that touchdown towards the end of the fourth quarter and their punter, Colts punter, Rigoberto Sanchez. He dropped that ball at the end of the game on the 3-yard line.
Yeah.
Dropped that punt on the 3-yard line to pin them super deep for their Hail Mary play. They obviously didn't get it. And yeah, that was pretty much the game in a nutshell. Fairly boring, back and forth, and Colts did enough with Joe Flacco to pull it out.
Yeah, it was a very boring game. And Flacco didn't even look good until he had to.
Right, yeah, he just kind of did it. And also, for the upcoming weeks for the Colts, it looks like Shane Steichen said that Anthony Richardson is going to be starting week 7, barring any setbacks. Yeah, I know.
Woo! Back, baby.
And now Titans.
MVP season starts now.
Starts week 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Titans running back Tyjae Spears is considered week to week with a hamstring.
Yeah.
So that's rough for them, too.
All right, we'll move on to a game that was decided by 20 points. The Texans went into Foxborough and beat the nuts off the Patriots, 41-21.
Just keep making things up.
Yep.
Beat the nuts.
Yeah, we'll keep going with it. It was, we all expected this. We knew that the spread, I can't remember what the spread was, but it wasn't enough because we all picked the Texans. But honestly, the Texans team is just so satisfying to watch. The Texans offense.
Texans were favored 7.
Yeah, it's so disrespectful.
It was disrespectful.
But the Texans offense, my takeaway for them is that they're just so satisfying to watch. They're methodical, clean. CJ Stroud makes tight window throws. He slices up defenses. It didn't look great in the stat sheet. He went 20 for 31, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. So no big numbers there in the yards category. But did what he had to do in his first game without Nico Collins. Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell both stepped up for 6 and 7 receptions, respectively, and a touchdown each. Joe Mixon showed back up. It's his first game back, too. 13 carries, 102 yards on the ground, and a touchdown as well. And then Dameon Pierce busted off a 54-yard touchdown run for himself as well. So they did whatever they want. It was never really close. But we'll talk about the Patriots because this was Drake May's debut game. I know Carson likes to hate on him, but honestly, it was kind of overall for first game against a D'Amico Ryans defense. How you can't really ask for a whole lot more than what he did. Not that he played great.
He didn't 21 points is pretty good for him.
He didn't necessarily lose him the game.
No.
So that's all you're kind of looking for.
The Patriots themselves lost.
Right.
Yeah, right.
3 touchdown passes for Drake May in this game. He went 20 for 33, 243 yards. 2 interceptions, too, that looked pretty bad. But basically, he was also the leading rusher in this game. He went 5 carries for 38 yards.
Yeah. White guy can run.
He's a big body guy. Basically,
he's big.
My takeaway for the Patriots, it has to be about Drake May. But Drake May literally looked exactly like his college tape, in my opinion. So the good. He's not afraid to stand in there and sling it. He's got a strong arm. He's able to drop in some of those dimes sometimes. And he's big body who can use his legs when he needs it. The bad. Just random inaccuracies and overthrows that he had in this game that led to the 2 interceptions, and sometimes just holds on to the ball too long. But overall, for first game, obviously he made mistakes, but to come out, throw 3 touchdowns with an offensive line that is non-existent, a receiving core that is barely there, might still be better than the Steelers. We'll get to them.
Whoa.
But they looked okay. I mean, I guess they were able to move the ball. He's already got more touchdown passes on the year than Jacoby Brissett. I saw that stat. Great. 3 touchdown passes puts you in the lead. But Drake May, Carson is probably going to be yelling at his screen watching this, but he's not as bad as...
Nope, he's not.
He's good.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say he's good. Not yet, at least.
He's better than Anthony
Richardson.
He's not better than Anthony Richardson. He's going to be... Drake May is going to be all right, is what I'm going to say. He's going to be all right.
He is going to be all right.
This is the Tom Brady game.
All right. This game.
Yep.
They play, against the Jaguars? They could be.
Yep.
Like, anybody can beat the guy. We could probably put together a team and beat the Jaguars.
We probably could. There's a chance.
But they're at home now in London.
Yeah.
Actually, watching that
even though they
Bears-Jaguars game. Watching that Bears-Jaguars game in London this past week, the Jaguars got booed as they came out on the fields. I love it. Yes. They're tired of watching them.
Yeah. We don't want them anymore.
Well, you get to see them again.
Yeah. Run it back.
I love it. Well, I'm moving on to a game that was decided by 21 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Packers took belt to ass against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They did.
Or I guess Cardinals took belt to ass. I don't know. One of the two. Packers just killed the Cardinals. Offensively, the Cardinals were doing nothing all game. They were just chilling pretty much. Kyler Murray, pretty tame game from him. It was just 214 yards for a touchdown. No interceptions. He was just there pretty much. He was kind of doing the Deshaun Watson, just a little shorter.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Trey Benson got some carries because James Conner, I believe he got injured, didn't he?
I think he did go out.
Yeah, he got injured late in the game, so Trey Benson got some carries, showing why he should be the starter. 5 carries for 26 yards.
Yeah.
He's
delicious.
a dog.
Nope.
Yep.
Ankle injury.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yikes. Come on, James.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison also got hurt. He got a concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's probably part of the reason that they really couldn't do anything on offense. They had no one to throw to. They had, Greg Dortch?
Michael Wilson?
Yeah.
Trey McBride?
Oh, I know him. Other than that, it's a bunch of who's.
Yeah, Trey McBride did have a good game.
Yeah. But meh. Yeah, he had 94 receiving yards, but it's kind of what we expect out of him every game.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's supposed to be a dog, but it was kind of forced to him because they had no one else to throw to.
And they were down.
They were down the entire game. But Kyler Murray only threw 32 times. That's 20 less times than Geno Smith.
Nice.
Woo!
That's almost a whole game less. But
yeah, the time of possession, Packers had the ball 36 minutes. Cardinals had it for 23. So there you
go. That's what it felt like. They were just doing a bunch of 3-and-outs, and they were doing nothing all game. And then their defense was just letting the Packers do whatever they wanted. Jordan Love, 258 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, ain't a pick. Doing whatever he wanted. Didn't have to pass too much, but you don't have to when you're winning that much.
True. True that.
Christian Watson caught a touchdown. Romeo Doubs caught 2. Jaden Reed caught 1.
Romeo Doubs' touchdown was stupid.
It was
Anybody
so
else, it would have got intercepted. But because he's Jordan Love, he can throw these rainbow balls. He literally was about to get sacked, and he threw a Daniel Jones throw.
Well, last week he did that, and it was pick 6. So
that's true. Yeah,
he's bound to get one of them.
Yeah. You're right.
This is just another game where the bad defense, okay defense, good offense, mid offense. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah,
and the score reflects it. Nothing really happened for the Cardinals. Like, there was no momentum that ever got started. They did have a touchdown, but it didn't do anything. So. Yeah, it was pretty much just the Packers show, doing whatever they wanted. After the game, the Packers signed Brandon McManus, who was on the Giants.
He was. On the Jags.
He was just a free agent.
He was on the Broncos.
Yeah.
He was a free agent.
He's a journeyman kicker.
He is. So that'll work, right?
They also released Braden Narvison. Yep. Is he the ginger one?
Yeah, he was the one.
Yeah, he was really bad. He was like ridiculous.
It's kicker number 5 on the year for the Packers.
I hear if Brandon McManus doesn't work out, they're going to sign Isaac Rinell.
Oh, all right.
That'll definitely work out.
Yeah. Also, Dontavian Wicks is week to week because of his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe once his shoulder heals, he can catch the ball.
No.
All right, we'll move on to a game that was actually closer but boring because it's a Chargers game and they just like to run the ball. Some people might find that exciting. Football. Yeah, but the Chargers beat the Broncos in Denver. It was 23-16. We'll talk about the Broncos first. The Broncos Bro Nix has had zero help from the running game all year long. Yeah. Davante Williams is cooked. Audric Estime made his return in this game.
He's back.
He should be the starter in my opinion.
Yes.
I mean, he went 2 carries for 13 yards, so like.
That's 7. That's 6.5 a carry.
Yeah, that is 6.5 a carry. You're right, but
that's pretty good.
But I mean, limited touches. They're just easing him back in because he just came off of IR. But Davante Williams has not looked good all year. They need some kind of help from the running game, especially with a rookie quarterback back there. Give him some help because it's all on him right now. I mean, he didn't even have a bad game through the air. He went 19 for 33, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. All things considered, I mean, they had to catch back up. It was 23-0 ever since the third quarter. The Broncos scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. So you could say it was garbage time. I mean, J.K. Dobbins, it was garbage time, but J.K. Dobbins, he went 25 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown on the ground. He is the clear workhorse in this backfield. But I want to talk about the Chargers defense because that's what I took away from this game, and that's kind of what I've seen all year, and it's just kind of it just has kept happening. This defense is better than we give it credit for. It keeps them in games so that they can keep running the ball.
Jim Harbaugh.
Harbaugh defense.
And Minter.
Khalil Mack. Yeah, Jesse Minter.
Yep.
Khalil Mack is having a great season at age 33. He's the fifth ranked edge rusher this season according to PFF. Joey Bosa, he's only played 3 games, but when he's been out there, he's also been great. He's the 6th ranked edge rusher. Their safety, it's not Derwin James. It's not Alohi Gilman. Elijah Molden is the 6th ranked safety according to PFF. There's their cornerback, not Asante Samuel Jr., Christian Fulton is a 5th ranked cornerback according to PFF. This team is lights out on defense, better than I know I've been giving them credit for. But it's why they can keep running the ball and playing this brand of
Jim Harbaugh football.
This brand of football that Jim Harbaugh wants to play. Because Justin Herbert didn't have to do a whole lot. Their leading receiver in terms of receiving yards was Shimi Fehoko, number 87. But all in all, I mean, Chargers just kind of did what they wanted, grounded they grinded away the game. I need to go see the time of possession differences because I'm sure it was crazy. Yeah, Chargers had the ball for 37 minutes compared to the Broncos 23. So you can't win the game unless you have the ball.
Yeah.
But
true.
yeah, Chargers are now 3-2 and looking like we expected them to look, I guess. Boring, but it works against these teams.
Since they're boring, do we think the Chargers fans are happier with this than with
I think they just want to win
Brandon
games.
Staley?
I
so
think they
too.
just want to win games, yeah.
Maybe get some of their fans back.
Yeah. Also, in this game, Pat Surtain suffered a concussion, so he's probably going to be out this week because they play on Thursday night. But Chris Olave is also going to be out, so number one corner, number one receiver, both out.
Yeah.
But also Rashid, he's going to be out. So
yeah, Surtain's a big deal.
Riley Moss,
Moss
white
playing
cornerback, CB1.
Hell yeah.
We did it.
But that's it for that game.
Yeah. Steelers beat the brakes off those Raiders,
That's the word I was looking
32-13.
for. I like beat the balls off better. Beat the
I think you
balls
said
off.
nuts.
Oh, okay. Beat the nuts.
Balls would have been better.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, Steelers beat the brakes off the Raiders, 32-13. They were at I almost said Oakland. They were at Las Vegas, but boy, did it seem like a Steelers home game. I think, like Cletus said last week, just like last season, there was a lot of yellow in that stadium.
That's exactly what I predicted.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. It was loud in there. Basically, a Steelers home game.
Steelers fans love to gamble, and that's their excuse to go to Vegas.
That's Pittsburgh people, baby. Yeah, so it was kind of it was the Steelers the whole game. Like, there wasn't even a question that the Raiders were going to come back and win this game just because the Raiders don't have, like, they couldn't get anything going.
They did the first drive.
They did the first drive, and that was it. They walked down the field, and us Steelers fans were probably like, oh,
shit.
This feels like a Steelers game they're going to lose.
That was just a scripted drive, and that's about it.
That's literally all, just like they said. I mean, they walked down the field, touchdown. And then the rest of the game, nothing. Not a thing.
And here's a field goal.
Yeah, they threw in a field goal here and there. But Steelers D was good all game, and that's why the Raiders did nothing. They were pressuring all game long, forcing turnovers. They had a blocked punt thrown in there.
By Jeremiah Moon, the other starting edge rusher. Another one.
Yeah, another one. And then, like, Fields had some great runs on the ground. And he also threw in 2 rushing touchdowns. I think that puts him at 4 on the year. So Fields had a pretty solid game. Just kind of what we've seen, 145 yards passing and 2 rushing touchdowns, no throwing.
He's got 5 on the year.
Oh, 5 on the year. Okay, my bad. Even better. And Boswell's always consistent for the Steelers. He kept them right in this game, too. And the receiving game was pretty quiet. Pickens missed a couple that he normally doesn't miss. They were crazy throws, but we're expecting Pickens to make those at this point. But their receiving game was quiet. We didn't need him this game. The only receiving people on the Raiders that did anything was obviously Brock Bowers. I mean, he's the only one you can throw to in this game. Literally, the only one they should be throwing to. The Raiders have a lot of issues right now. You can just go down the line. Quarterback, yeah, there's a problem there. Receivers, yeah, there's a problem there because you're missing one.
They're not fixing it this season.
Yeah, they're missing one. Defense,
Problem.
they got some problems there. And so, yeah, they got a whole bunch that's just not going well. The Steelers, on the other hand, they got a bunch to work on, but they're looking pretty okay. Like, their defense is still there. Defense is still good. And they're just playing Mike Tomlin winning football right now.
So they're saying, screw it, let's switch up at quarterback.
Yeah. So before we get to
We're
that.
playing way too well.
Yeah. Before we get to that, the obvious one shining thing from the Steelers is Najee Harris is all the way back.
For this game.
Nope. He's all the way back.
As soon as Jalen Warren comes back and gets some touches, Najee Harris plays well.
Nope. Najee Harris is in a contract year, and he was running through defenders this game like they were covered in butter, dude. He was just slipping off them, and he's all the way back.
He got his first touchdown in like almost a year.
That's crazy.
Najee's playing with a moxie this year and an attitude this year that's like easy to see and clearly easy to see. And he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's being chatty. He's talking.
He runs with overalls.
Yeah, his legs are tied together.
Yeah, he
runs
looks really
with those
good.
Elastic bands.
Yeah,
Like around his ankles. That's how he runs.
So
Pick 'em
yeah,
off.
that was the Steelers. But yeah, like Cletus alluded to, quarterback Russell Wilson is reportedly going to be getting first-team reps in practice this week, which is kind of putting him in line to possibly be the starter this Sunday night to make his season debut against the New York Jets. Now, it was in these reports. Was it like reported he's getting all first-team reps?
I'm pretty sure it's all of them.
Okay, because I know that they've been obviously splitting more than the usual teams this year, but I didn't look into it far enough. But thoughts?
They're saying, screw it. We throw him out in prime time.
Exactly, yeah. Let's see what he's got against Aaron Rodgers.
Against the good Jets defense.
Send him back to the bench.
If
he loses.
I
don't know.
That might be what they're doing. They might be like...
I mean...
I don't hate it. Cause
we need the wins early in the season, though, because our second half of the season is
AFC
so
North.
difficult.
Yeah, it's the AFC North.
We
much.
haven't gone against a single AFC North opponent. And
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they should do it like week 10, not this early. Like,
yeah.
We need the wins now.
Yeah.
And we don't know if Russell Wilson can do that yet or not. We
Right.
know that Justin Fields can.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't hate it because, like, the Steelers haven't been crazy explosive. We've been playing winning football. If Russell Wilson can at least do that and hopefully more, then we're in good shape. If he doesn't, well, okay. Well, Justin Fields, you're back in for the second half of the season run.
At this point, with how banged up the Steelers' offensive line is, I do not think that Russell Wilson is going to do anything worth a damn.
Justin Fields has been able to keep plays alive.
Yeah,
using his legs.
Like there was one play that I saw where the right tackle, I don't even know who the starter was for this game. Broderick Jones, maybe.
Broderick.
Yeah.
Jones, yep.
I think he thought it was a rushing play or something. He just let Max Crosby run right around him. Like, you could play the play for like 3 seconds, and Broderick Jones doesn't even move. He turns around and puts his hands like...
yeah.
But Justin Fields, being Justin Fields and not Russell Wilson, just ran right up the gut for like a 13-yard gain and got first down. Russell Wilson would not be able to do that. He would have taken a sack right there.
Yeah.
So...
I'd rather them just leave Fields in my opinion, at this point. But if they're probably hoping to get a little more out of Russell Wilson or something like that, a little more explosives and all that, and maybe with Peyton Wilson coming back, I don't know. I really don't know.
Roman
Wilson. Yeah, Peyton Wilson's been playing pretty well though.
The
on
brothers.
That note.
Oh wow, we got 3 Wilsons on this team now.
Yeah.
Wow, all of them new. Anyway, sorry, back to your question.
Or Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I said it last week, but I agree with this move. I mean, I can see. We should all be able to see that the Justin Fields hasn't been the one winning these games. It's the defense. I mean, the offense put up 32 points against a Raiders team that is down bad. They're like a slight tier above the Jaguars and not Panthers, Browns right now. But yeah, like Justin Fields, I mean, he's been, I'd say, mid.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's playing.
So I mean,
he's playing good enough.
Right, and I think the Steelers see like, okay, now we're 4-2. If we're gonna beat these good teams and not get absolutely the nuts beat off of us first round of the playoffs, we need some kind of offensive attack. And Justin Fields, while he hasn't turned the ball over, he almost looks like he's playing scared, kind of, in my opinion. Like, kind of.
It's either that or the offense.
Yeah, which I think that's why they.
Yeah.
Which is like we don't know. We don't know right now if this is Justin Fields being cautious, if this is him like kind of taming himself or Arthur Smith taming him, or if this is the offense. So like I feel like because we don't know that right now, that's why we have to give Russ at least a shot. Like, okay, if he sucks the first game, sure. Go back to Justin Fields. But like need some kind of spark on the offense because you can't win games against good teams like this.
If I was Justin Fields, I'd be scared too because you only have like 3 blockers in front of you.
That's true.
Actually blocking people.
Yeah, right.
And you got 4 people rushing you. How's that going to work?
Yeah, the offensive line is in bad shape.
I just think you need to try to find some kind of spark, which is crazy that we're saying this
at some point.
4-2 team.
You got to see him at some point.
Right,
yeah.
We haven't seen. I mean, Russell Wilson's been injured since training camp, so this is just kind of like we'll see if this helps the offense. If not, we'll just go back to Fields.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really it.
Yep.
We're gonna move on to a game where the Falcons they went into Charlotte. Picture this: I think this is called a Cleveland steamer. They ripped the shirts off of the Panthers. They shit on their chests and they rubbed it in.
It's a good thing that no one was there to watch it.
Yeah.
There was no one in the stands.
But the Falcons won 38-20 in Charlotte. Not a whole lot to say about this game. I mean, Falcons are looking good. My boys are now 3-0 in the division.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they're so what I'm going to say about this game is that if the Falcons can keep running like they did in this game, Tyler Algier went 18 for 105 on the ground with a touchdown. Bijan Robinson went 15 for 95 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. If they can run the ball like this, like 200 yards on the ground every game, this offense is scary because Kirk Cousins has been heating up, getting Drake London and Darnell Mooney involved, and even Kyle Pitts and Ray McLeod. Everybody's kind of getting a slice of all this. As we know, Kirk Cousins just last week threw for 500 yards. So if this running game can keep producing like this, it's going to be we are smooth sailing. Now, obviously, we get absolutely nothing from the defense. Neither quarterback was sacked in this game because neither team has a pass rush. Matt Judon is doing his best on the Falcons defense, but it's not enough because he's getting double teamed on almost every play. Yep. And we know the Panthers have no defense. But I want to talk about the Panthers offense because I got to give some love at least to Andy Dalton because obviously the team overall is not good. They are shit. But I feel like I need to give Andy Dalton some credit just for being able to move this offense at all. Because he's thrown to, I mean, I was never a Xavier Legette fan, but he's getting Xavier Legette involved. Deontay Johnson is getting open for him. Jatavian Sanders, their rookie 4th-round tight end out of Texas, had a good game this week. They're using an undrafted free agent named Jalen Coker. I feel like this is more on Andy Dalton than it is
100%.
on like Dave Canales because I don't know, it didn't work with Bryce Young.
We saw it with Bryce Young.
Yeah. Like Andy Dalton's coming in, he went 26 for 38 through the air, 221 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The one interception wasn't really his fault, but Andy Dalton is moving the offense. And honestly, as a Panthers fan, you're 1-5 now. I mean, I guess I'd at least be encouraged to see Andy Dalton at least move the ball. Something to watch every week. You get to see the Red Rocket go
You might
out
be
there.
competitive against teams like Jags and Cleveland and those at the bottom of the barrel guys.
On the bright side, you play the Saints twice this year. Well,
so
I mean, Saints, that could be a close game.
Could be.
Probably going to get the pants beat off of you by the Buccaneers, the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are probably going to bukkake you.
Whoa.
Yeah,
probably though.
But that's all I got to say about that game. Falcons are looking good.
All right.
Against a bad team.
Lions just absolutely murdered the Cowboys.
And there we go. Another one. Oh, them boys.
Them boys were just killing it. $60 million a year for what?
9 points.
Yeah, I remember watching this game and I was like, man, Dak, you are dog shit. We'll just start on the Cowboys side, I guess. 2 picks, 0 touchdowns, 178 yards for Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush, also a pick. Because why the hell not? Everyone gets one. Branch on the Lions side was just like, Branch. I'm gonna catch more balls than your receivers himself.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, they did nothing the entire game. They had like 50 yards total rushing, and so they had like 220 total yards of offense the entire game. And the Lions were like, let's pass it to tackles. Let's Let's pitch it to tackles. Let's do whatever the hell we can to get revenge because we actually report as eligible this time.
Yeah, that's they tried it 4 times.
Yeah.
4 times they tried to get a tackle, a touchdown. Dan Campbell was like, run it again.
We need this big guy to get a touchdown, man.
Jared Goff.
I'm surprised Dan Campbell didn't suit up and run on the field in the first quarter.
I'm sure he wanted to. He was pissed off the entire game. Jared Goff, 315 for 3. Montgomery and Gibbs were just doing what they wanted to that defense. Between the two of them, 140 rushing yards, and Montgomery had 2 touchdowns. He always finds the end zone.
Yep.
Jameson Williams, maybe he is a dog and not a frog like I predicted.
He's looking good.
He had 76 yards and a touchdown off 3 catches.
Yep.
That's his way of doing it.
Rashid Shaheed way.
Yeah. Amon-Ra, he didn't do shit. He only had 37 receptions and a touchdown. I mean, There's
Yeah,
touchdowns.
come on.
There's touchdowns everywhere.
Yeah.
Just getting one is not good enough for this
No,
game.
come on, Amon-Ra.
Sam Laporta, touchdown, 52 yards.
Yep.
Khalif Raymond, 73 yards off 4 catches. That's
Our
my
boy.
guy.
That's your
my
boy.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
The Lions did whatever they wanted this game.
Yeah, they were like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. Brian Branch with 2 picks. Kirby Joseph with a pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good safety tandem right there.
It is.
Yeah. Alim McNeil, two sacks. Aiden Hutchinson, broken leg.
Yeah.
I have the picture of it on my phone because I just like seeing how his foot bends around his teammate's leg.
That was around Ali McNeil's leg,
Yeah.
who got a contract extension.
Yep.
Crazy timing.
It's just great. Yeah, he got
Get
a contract
soon.
extension for 4 years, $97 million for breaking Aiden Hutchinson's leg. I mean, I liked it.
It was. It had to. I mean,
It was a great play, so you get paid for it.
It's so sad for Aiden Hutchinson.
It is.
He was in the driver's seat to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Now
Absolutely.
it's TJ Watts.
Now it is TJ Watts. Yeah, just like if you compare just the stats between, I mean, TJ Watt has also been having a great year, but if you go in and compare the stats between the two, Aiden Hutchinson is absolutely wrecking shit up, like making TJ Watt looking like he's standing still.
Kind of.
I mean, I can go get the stats because it's like crazy to see.
Oh yeah, I
because
mean we've
it all
talked
kind
about
of
Aiden Hutchinson all
right
year.
because we like all kind of pay attention to TJ Watt because I mean obviously a Steeler, but yeah, it is sad for TJ Watt or not TJ Watt for Aiden Hutchinson.
It is.
His leg had to have been at least like stress fractures because for him to he still got the sack on the play.
Yeah.
He ran around and still sacked Dak Prescott, but as he was flying through the air, Ali McNeil was coming from the other side and like there was no weight bearing or anything. It was just his shin smacked the other guy's shin and just folded around Ali McNeil's shin, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But sorry, I just felt like we had to explain
But
that.
hey,
Go ahead,
through
Cletus.
5 games, he had 7.5 sacks.
Yeah, crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but doesn't matter. Yeah, the Cowboys suck.
They do. Yep.
Even at home in the regular season, which is completely abnormal for them.
Yeah.
Their playoff hopes are dead. They are
Dead.
third in the
Looks
division. Are they better than the Giants?
Yeah, they're
Have
better
to
than
be
the
better than
Giants.
the
Yeah,
Giants,
Okay, so they're third in the division, and they're not making the playoffs. So,
yeah.
Lions are looking like a juggernaut. They're
They're a serious team.
They're second in their division, which is crazy.
Losing Aiden Hutchinson is huge, but I think the Lions have enough to keep it going.
Well, when they trade for Max Crosby, they'll be fine.
Oh, that would be crazy. Let me just give Aiden Hutchinson a little shout out before we sadly don't talk about him for the rest of the year. I know that like pressures are like an almost stat, but like you're still rattling the quarterback. But on the season, about the same number of stats as TJ Watt. Not to hate on TJ Watt because he's also playing great, as we said. But TJ Watt 5 sacks, Aiden Hutchinson 8 sacks, TJ Watt 7 quarterback hits, Aiden Hutchinson 8 quarterback hits. TJ Watt, 3 quarterback hurries. Aiden Hutchinson, 29 quarterback hurries. On the season, Aiden Hutchinson has 45 pressures to TJ Watt's 15.
What was that game that the Lions played that Aiden Hutchinson had like 10 plus?
It was 15 pressures.
Yeah.
And didn't
What
get a
game
sack.
was
Yeah.
that? I don't remember that. But yeah, I mean, he was playing unbelievable.
Yeah, it's sad for Aiden Hutchinson.
It is.
Heal up.
Yep. Get well soon. The Bengals beat the aforementioned New York Football Giants 17-7 in just an absolutely thriller game. Obviously,
so
it was
bad.
ugly. It was boring. It was
Like
gross.
old Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and
But it was prime time.
it was prime time. That's what we get sometimes. We can run through this pretty quick. The Burrow, Chase, and Higgins all had fairly decent games. They had the numbers. They had all that. They had the explosive plays, and obviously Burrow still has good rapport with those guys. Obviously. And the Bengals' running game was pretty much non-existent, I think. Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Until the end of the game, whenever Chase Brown kind of iced it.
Yep, pretty much. That's pretty much it for the Bengals side. They played good enough against this bad New York Giants team. The Giants,
bad.
Who played good? Let me look.
Tyrone Tracy was solid.
Tyrone Tracy's proven to be a pretty solid player.
He's
overall.
who Chris Collinsworth was glazing in this game,
was.
actually. He kept bringing him up.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He has to pick somebody.
Yeah, it's always somebody every game.
That's pretty much the shining light on that side. That was Tyrone Tracy. He, like you just said, he's still looking good. This is kind of a funny game because Burrow and Jones were the leading rushers for their teams this game. So that was kind of how that game was going. But Burrow's was kind of skewed with his long touchdown run in that game.
Yeah, he had some wheels on him.
Yeah, he did. He was moving. Giants missed a couple field goals that would have kept him in the game. Had a couple failed fourth down attempts.
I gotta
really
read this.
Thinking there,
I gotta read this drive summary because
go ahead. Yeah.
for the first half, Bengals scored a touchdown the first drive, and then it was Giants punt, Bengals punt, Giants interception, Bengals punt, Giants punt, Bengals punt, Giants punt, Bengals punt, Giants punt, Bengals punt, end of half.
Prime time.
Prime time.
Yeah.
Still 7-0 at halftime.
Yeah, we really don't need to say anything more than that.
Boring game.
Boring
Yeah,
game.
it was
Bengals struggled on offense. Giants obviously struggled
on both sides of the ball.
Both sides of the ball. That's
Their tackles hurt.
Yeah.
I think Daniel Jones moved to something like 1-14 in primetime games.
That's good. I'm proud of him.
Probably he's turning into the new Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Apparently. But I guess the only positive you can take from this is obviously we know Burrow, Higgins, and Chase looked okay this game, but I don't know if it's just because they didn't have to or didn't want to, but the Giants held the Bengals to 17. Mm-hmm. That could be looked at as a somewhat positive for the Bengals team.
Kayvon Thibodeau got put on IR before this game. Brian Burns looked good in this game.
Yeah,
Brian Burns
did look really
he
good.
stepped up, even though he didn't play. He didn't play like shit whenever Kayvon Thibodeau was there, and he's like, shit, I got to do something. He played well.
Yep. And one other thing we'll throw in there is Giants left tackle Andrew Thomas got a foot injury that's believed to force him to be out the rest of the season.
Yeah,
so
that's
that doesn't
not
help
good.
anything.
That's like their one elite offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He year
Left
after he's one of the best left tackles in the league, and not good for Daniel
so that's
Jones.
rough.
All right. Oh, moving on to the Monday night football game where the Bills took on the Jets and beat them by a field goal.
Yep.
This game, it shouldn't have been this close. Is pretty much only because Aaron Rodgers does his Hail Mary shit. And
Yeah.
They just all.
That was awesome.
Lazard will always come down with it because I don't know.
He's got like the most Hail Marys
of all time.
Yeah.
He's got like 8 of them.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
It's something like that.
But I don't know how he does. He just he's so consistent to underthrow the perfect throw, and it's perfect. It's so weird. So the perfect throw would be about 3 yards further, but he underthrows it by 3 yards, making it a perfect Hail Mary throw.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. He does it every time.
Yeah.
And the defenders are always covering 3 yards past. It's so dumb. But yeah, they won. Let me explain to you how this game went.
Please.
So pretty much, the Bills in the first quarter, the Bills and Jets, they both scored a touchdown. Jets had a field goal. Second quarter, the Bills scored a touchdown and 2 field goals, and the Jets had a dog shit Hail Mary. After that, so the Bills were up 3 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
After that, this is how the second half went. Oh, the game's tied.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bills kicked a field goal.
Yep.
Game's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really it.
Yeah.
I fell asleep in the second half. I had to go back and watch it again.
I went to bed at halftime, and I'm so happy I did.
I should
Because I watched some highlights of the second half, and it was like dog shit. It was just like, here's a punt, here's a punt, here's a field goal, here's a punt, here's a punt, here's an interception, here's a punt. But that's
Yep.
basically. Would the Jets have won this game with Davante Adams? Maybe. But they couldn't really get anything going on offense to begin with. I don't know. It was a weird game overall. It was like they put everything out there too early. And then both defenses were like, yeah, you guys are done.
Buffalo needs some offensive weapons,
which they just traded for one.
Yeah,
they just got Amari Cooper from the Browns.
That could be huge
for a little bit of chump change and a bag of Skittles.
They did.
Yeah.
It really was. What was it? A fourth?
It was a fourth round pick.
I saw it was a 2025 third round pick.
I saw that too, but I also saw it
okay.
reported as a fourth.
I'll find it.
A conditional fourth that could be a second.
Okay.
I think that might have been, or a conditional third that could be a second.
Okay.
Which Amari Cooper going to the Bills, that could really be a big deal.
Yeah.
For the Bills.
Yeah.
I know that the Bills have had people like Stephon Diggs in the past, and that didn't really work out.
But Amari Cooper's not sassy.
True.
Yeah.
It seems that way. Yeah, Amari Cooper is a good player.
Yeah, it wouldn't cause off-field issues.
And he played incredibly well with Flacco last year.
Yeah.
For those few games,
and Josh Allen has the arm like Joe Flacco, so
he certainly does.
They both throw deep-ass bombs.
They do.
But yeah, I mean, Allen Lazard, he's just for whatever reason Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. 114 yards off 6 catches. Garrett Wilson, however, did get targeted like 15 times.
Yeah.
But he only caught eight of those balls. One was for a touchdown, 107 yards. This game just kind of sucked to me. Breece Hall finally was like, yeah, I'm better than you, Braylon Allen.
Yeah,
and
he did.
He went out there, 18 carries, 113 yards.
He is very good.
They were getting good yards. Like Aaron Rodgers was 6 off of 300. Like if you saw the stat line without looking at the box score, you'd be like, okay, yeah, it was probably like what, a 32-point game? No, 20.
Yeah.
They were stalling out.
They just kept stalling out. They were like, we're gonna be good around midfield. And that was
pretty much.
And that's what both teams did.
Between the 20s.
It was very, very weird. Ray Davis had a good game rushing. Yeah,
Cody's guy.
Let's go, Ray.
But other than that, it was just a first. It was like a who won in the first half, and that pretty much decided the game.
Yep, it did.
Yeah, Josh Allen, I feel like he's been working without weapons. Now he gets Amari Cooper. And Josh Allen, just watching this game, he had to do so much on his own. He looks... Josh Allen's amazing. The stuff that he can do,
awesome.
The throws that he can make, rolling out left, running left.
Looks Mahomey. Looks so Mahomey.
I don't know, Jim.
That looked a little bit like Patrick Mahomes.
I feel like I'm in the booth with him every time.
Tony Romo,
yeah, Josh Allen's incredible. He proves to continue to be incredible, and there's no stopping him.
Oh, I don't know if we said it, but Aaron Rodgers got another buddy on his team.
Yep,
he did. Yeah, he got Tay in town,
and he exposed that on the Pat McAfee show, just like in his house with them.
It was really like Tay just leans in, he's like, "What's up, guys?"
That was so weird.
People hate on it, but I love it. I think it's cool. I mean, if you step back and don't look at who it is, like however your thoughts are on Aaron Rodgers and all that, but like if you have a player like that you truly made like a real number one. Like, Davante was good, obviously, but Aaron Rodgers in that offense really made him
that guy
who he is, like that actual guy. To be able to go back and be with him, it's just cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it'll be, I bet Davante obviously loves it to get out of the Raiders, that mess. But like to be back with Aaron, and I know they always had a good rapport, obviously, but it's just pretty cool.
Yeah, they sent back to the Raiders a conditional 2025 third-round pick that turns into a second, if he's like an All-Pro or
if he's the first or second team All-Pro, or if he has to start in them. He has to start in either the AFC title game or the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think it's cool though.
But Davante Adams is planning to make his Jets debut this Sunday against the Steelers.
So he's going to beat the Steelers.
Hamstring injury's gone.
It is magic. Boom. Yeah.
I heard that he flew out the night after the Raiders game was done.
Yep.
It was before the trade was even official.
In Aaron Rodgers' place for the McAfee show. That was the day it was announced or something like that. I think the trade was announced around noon that day.
No, it was at 7:40. It was early in the day.
All right,
and then
earlier in the day.
Then the Cooper trade was noon.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. But
yeah, I got mixed feelings. I mean, I obviously Cody loves Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yeah, I've got mixed feelings
about him. Now that he's
off
the Green Bay Packers. Even when he was on there. Yeah, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, and I think it's cool. I'm a Davante Adams fan. Mm-hmm. Before these past year or last couple of years or whatever, he wasn't really he was just kind of a humble, he still is, but just kind of a humble guy that never really talked, didn't act like your typical loud wide receiver, making a whole bunch of statements. So he was an easy guy to root for. Still kind of is, and I've grown to like Aaron.
Yeah. So pretty much from this game, both teams were like, we need more. And
pretty
so
much
that's
went out and got
that's what both teams did.
Yeah, very proactive.
These guys haven't seen it, but I've seen rumors that Garrett Wilson wants to trade now, but I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I don't doubt it either.
But
Garrett Wilson, I mean, he was like arguing with Aaron Rodgers during training camp. Like I saw videos of them, at least whenever they were trying to get on the same page.
Right, yeah.
Oh, here it is. Garrett Wilson posts fiery message after Jets Mammoth Davante Adams trade. Oh, okay. All he said was, we got to go. We got to do it now, is what he said. Okay, so I guess maybe there are rumors out there about him wanting a trade, but maybe he just wants to win after being stuck with Zach Wilson.
Maybe.
He might just be happy to have a good quarterback. There was the one thing that I have against Aaron Rodgers from this game, but it was like funny how it came about, but like that interception that he threw, he came out and he said like, yeah, that was Mike Williams' fault. It's like, I don't know if I like that. Like, from my quarterback, like I kind of want them to be. Clip? No, I didn't listen to the whole clip. But,
all right, go ahead. You can say your piece.
I kind of want my quarterback to, I guess, be like, I just don't think Patrick Mahomes would say that.
Like Bo Nix did for Troy Franklin.
Yeah.
A week ago.
I guess like take some of the heat. Like I know that's, and then it's funny because then later they go and get Davante Adams. Like, your ass is on the bench, Mike Williams.
Then it's like reported they may trade Mike Williams, or like it was reported by someone that they may put Mike Williams up for trade.
Yeah, like I guess that's what gets on my nerve about Aaron Rodgers, just how much power he has. Like obviously he is a not distinguished. He is a proven. That's not the word I was looking for, but he's a very proven. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, so obviously he should have power. But like I don't. That kind of gave me the ick a little bit.
Yeah, if you didn't listen to the whole clip of that, he. Like, I guess in his press conference when he originally said that, and he explained all this on the McAfee show, and think what you want, you may think he's lying or whatever. Who knows if he is. So he was asked about, like, some other stuff, and he's like, yeah, I made some bad passes, I got to play better and all that. And, like, he took accountability for some of that, allegedly. Well, he did say that.
Yeah.
And then he was asked specifically about that play, like what happened, and he basically said, like, yeah, Mike Williams, like, he didn't say Mike Williams, but he was like, yeah, he was supposed to be right here, and he basically wasn't. And who knows? That's just what he said.
Yeah.
But back to Davante and all that. All these trades, like that we've seen in the not preseason, but before the season.
Yeah.
You're getting a Davante Adams caliber wide receiver for at most a second-round pick. That just seems unbelievable. Like
you're only getting.
What are we
like
doing, Steelers?
Yeah, true. But like, if you're a Jets team that's really trying to win, which is why it may seem like Aaron Rodgers has a lot of power too, is in my opinion because the Jets are desperate to win.
Yeah. They are
obviously.
They're
so
in win now mode.
Yeah, if there's anything they can do, like Aaron very well may have had nothing to do with Davante. Like.
Oh, come on.
Limited to do with Davante and Howie, not Howie, whatever their owner's name is like, he's like, yeah, I'm obviously all in. Let's go figure out a way to get Davante Adams in here. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers would have had to plead his case to get Davante Adams in town if they could. But, just all these receivers and big names going somewhere for seemingly nothing.
Yeah, Vikings acquired running back Cam Akers for a conditional 2026 7th-round pick. Basically nothing. They just went out and got him for nothing. Not that it's going to make a big difference, but Aaron Jones is injured right now.
It'll make the Texans better. They don't
have
to run Cam Akers.
Don't have Cam Akers anymore. Well, I guess this just one more question before we get into that Chris Collinsworth glaze.
Yeah.
What do the Steelers do now? Why don't the Steelers do this?
The Steelers?
Yeah, go get a receiver.
Well, honestly,
Mike Tomlin did say, yeah, last week we were anticipating having Davante Adams. This week we were getting ready to have Davante Adams, and now we don't have Davante Adams. And that's just how the game of football goes.
Can we get Christian Kirk to the Steelers?
That would be f***ing awesome.
Yeah.
I would cream my pants so hard.
Woo! We need him.
Actually, I can
honestly,
see it.
It should have
Like
I feel like
fourth-round
Christian
pick?
Kirk should be.
Yeah. Oh my God,
out.
they could send out a 5th or 6th to get Christian Kirk right now.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident.
I bet it'd be like a 4th.
Do it.
Maybe.
5th.
I don't care. Give a first. I don't give a damn.
Conditional fifth. It could be a fourth.
You know how quickly I would buy that jersey?
So quick. It would be on the way. Yeah.
Yeah, Christian Kirk has 2 years left on his deal. The rest of this year and then next year. But
I'm game,
dude.
Yeah, the Steelers need some. I don't know. I mean, a lot of it gets overshadowed what the Steelers have already done with Omar Khan, like specifically this past year. They did bring in a lot. I mean, they brought in these quarterbacks, which think what you want, but it's better than having Pickett in town.
Oh, for sure.
And they've made a lot of moves, and they've brought in tackles that are unfortunately hurt, and guys like that, and they've done good in the draft. So I'm pretty happy with where the Steelers are and what Omar Khan's done specifically. But would I love a top receiver? Absolutely. They need it bad. But
or even like a tier 2 or tier 3.
Yeah, right.
Like Christian Kirk's probably high tier 3, low tier 2.
We need another one that'll help out George Pickens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just like a really good 2.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
They just need a second.
He doesn't have to be better than George Pickens.
No.
We just need someone to go next to him so that all the attention doesn't go to him.
100%. Yep. All right. That's about it for news and games, huh?
Now let's suck some cock.
Now let's glaze some people like Chris Collinsworth is always glazing people. So this, if people don't know, Chris Collinsworth likes to glaze people. Like we talked about last week was Tyrone Tracy Jr. Mm-hmm. He just locks on someone and gives them that glaze, like a nice Krispy Kreme donut, you know? And so, yeah, we like to highlight some players that had that standout performance that are worthy of the glaze.
Yeah, for sure.
Who you got, Kean?
Me? You want me to go first? Actually, I'll have Cletus.
Let's Cletus. Who you got the glaze?
Mine's not a player. Give me Dan Campbell.
Yeah, baby.
Yes. That man he's just an animal. He's coaching exactly how I would coach. Just be ruthless, be a dog, and then once you're up, who gives a shit what you do? Just do some tricky shit. Just rub their face in shit while they're down. After and then kick them in the ribs after.
Because they lost to the Cowboys last year, 20-19.
Yeah, they're playing with vengeance.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I gotta glaze Dan Campbell a little bit.
A man of the people.
Man of the people.
Just do some freaky shit after you're up so much.
I know you don't give a damn.
Like in the NFL, like teams are like at the end of the game, they're like, we won't crush you by that much. It's like Dan Campbell's like, oh no,
let's put the pedal down. We won't crush you
by our skill players.
let's beat my former team that I played for badly. How about it? And they did. It was really cool after that game. Speaking on that, how I don't know if you guys saw that he gave the game ball obviously to Jared Goff, and then Jared Goff gave it right back to him. Mm-hmm. Like that team's a problem, and if they're doing stuff like that, I mean, we already knew that they were, but they're a juggernaut for sure. I'm gonna glaze Najee Harris. I talked about how good he was this week. Got to give him that glaze because he's carrying that Steelers team arguably on his back with how he's running right now, his attitude that he's bringing, and his moxie he's got right now. He just went for 100+ yards on the ground and just running over dudes, and he just looks really good and deserves some glaze.
All right, so I will highlight a defensive guy then.
Yeah.
Give me Will Anderson. Will Anderson on the game.
Really well.
3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, a big old smack in the face with his dick. Will Anderson, he said, welcome to the NFL, Drake May.
Yep.
Yeah, Will Anderson's incredible.
Yeah, it was really good. I also want to highlight, I mean, it's not really like a player of the game, but it's just like something that happened. For the second week in a row, corner for the Atlanta Falcons, Clark Phillips, got an interception at the end of the game. Could have easily been a pick six again, and he slid down to just run out the clock. So, like, that's the second time this happened this year for Clark Phillips. But
he had
a really good, very good guy for the team.
Yep, man of the team.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys got any suggestions, questions, feedback, anything like that you'd like answered, you can email us, laststoutsportstalk@gmail.com, or you can comment down below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.